A crypto expert, Arthur Hayes, predicts a $750K to $1 million Bitcoin by 2026. So the founder of BitMEX, Arthur Hayes, predicted a $750K to $1 million Bitcoin. He went on record and explained his reasoning for why he came to this amazing conclusion, at least amazing for us in the crypto world. To quote, "I absolutely agree that there is going to be a major financial crisis, probably as bad or worse than the Great Depression, sometime near the end of the decade. Before we get there, we're going to have, I think, the largest bull market in stocks, real estate, crypto art, you name it, that we have ever seen since World War II. So this belief that a financial crisis is basically the catalyst for gains in Bitcoin and crypto isn't necessarily unfounded. For those that remember the 2007 to 2008 financial crisis, that was essentially the start of Bitcoin as we knew it, like the actual development of it. Part of why Bitcoin was created, there was a market demand for something in spite of the traditional finance system, which is why Bitcoin started its development. And with the CV situation we saw in 2019 to 2020, yeah, that was a massive pump catalyst for Bitcoin and crypto. Typically, when there's a financial crisis, you see people very quickly take their money out of cash and put it into assets. Assets such as real estate, stocks, and crypto like you listed. And the concept of a major financial crisis happening is not that insane. Like, the system that we're in, this current financial system, is by definition unsustainable. Like, the debt is exponentially increasing. The gap between the poor and rich in many first world countries is growing exponentially too. It's at the point where a lot of people just like legitimately playing by the rules. Like, they went to college, like they kept their head down, they're just getting by. They can't afford like a house. And when people that are just playing by the rules and just not doing anything wrong on paper can't afford the basics in life, something's gonna give, right? That's never been a sustainable situation in history. Let me tell you about Boss Token. Boss Token is a microcap deflationary token which reduces in supply over time. It will also have a use case to unlock premium features on Boss Track, a DeFi portfolio tracker. You can buy this coin early today at bosstoken.com. He went on and said, "We have all collectively agreed that the government is essentially there to attempt to remove the business cycle. Like, there should never be bad things that happen to the economy, and if there are, we want the government to come in and destroy the free market." Classic examples of this is when like a bank over leverages like customer funds and they lose money. What governments do is, instead of just letting them fail and figure it out themselves, no, they just inject money and bail them out with taxpayer money. Horrendous. It creates so many perverse incentives, but yeah, that's one great example of what he's referring to. So every time we've had a financial crisis over the past 80 years, what happens? The government rushes in and they essentially destroy some part of the free market because they want to save the system. There's a seeming inability in modern society just to let things fail. And when there's this environment where the government is going to bail you out and politicians are going to hand you money if you screw up, obviously that creates perverse incentives, right? Like, why would a bank be conservative in retaining their customer funds when they're just going to be given money if they screw up? Like, it's just basic logic, right? And Hayes goes on to explain that debt is a big reason for why Bitcoin is so bullish. In the first instance, it creates a massive bull market in stocks, crypto, and real estate, things that have a fixed supply. Maybe they're productive and have some earnings. But after that, we're going to find out that actually the government can't save everything. It can't just print as much money as they think to try and save themselves by fixing the yield and price of their bonds, and we're going to get a generational collapse. This is the playbook of the elites. The whole point of inflation is essentially to transfer wealth from the common man that are living paycheck to paycheck to people with assets. Traditionally this has been real estate, stocks, commodities like gold and such. And just recently, crypto is now added to that list. It's also why the gap between the rich and poor is getting bigger and bigger. It's mainly due to inflation. Those with assets see their wealth go up, and those without assets are the ones that realize and pay for that inflation. The most annoying thing is that in like the modern political landscape, this basic mathematical fact that I'm speaking of is not common knowledge. So you'll see people that, claim to speak for the poor and so on and so forth, but they support policies that rapidly increase inflation. The exact opposite, the exact opposite of what helps the poor. Obviously, a $750K to $1 million Bitcoin in 2027 is obviously quite a ambitious prediction. But if we compare this to the Bitcoin rainbow chart, how insane is this prediction? If we go into 2027, we can see that the top range of the maximum bubble territory is pretty much 700K. So yes, it is quite a ambitious target, but we've seen historically there's a historical precedent for Bitcoin's price reaching this red band. It has reached the top of the red band in the first 3 bull cycles, and then last bull cycle we saw it get to like the dark orange. It almost got to the red band but didn't quite make it. So even if we get to the orange band, we're looking at a 530K Bitcoin. And I would be thrilled if that happened. Of course, what Hayes is referring to, which is a major financial collapse, obviously the rainbow chart doesn't factor that in. This is just like the vanilla rainbow chart, when things are going quote unquote normal in the economy. But like if there is like a major financial collapse like the Great Depression, I mean, theoretically, yeah, it could actually burst through this red band. As wild as that sounds. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like and sub for more.